Hi, this is the first in a series of 3 tutorials on the IfThenElse widget. The IfThenElse widget allows you to make decisions about any values coming into the IfThenElse widget, for example, a sensor. So here you can see if I'm simulating values coming in from a sensor here, we can decide if the values coming in meet a certain condition here, and if so, do something output here. So let's go through this example first. So we have an analog in here, which is then listened to by the IfThenElse widget, and then the clip control is listening to the IfThenElse widget, moving this graphic here. And so if we're in a false situation here that is not near equal to 500, then this shows false here, and we're outputting the value of the else, which in this case is 0. If we go to the true condition, where we're meeting the criteria, where we're near equal 500, then this shows true, and we do the then output, which is set to 500, and you can see that the graphic is over here 500 pixels out as controlled by clip control. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the conditions and how we decide whether it's true or false. Up here, we have the incoming values, as you can see, and then we have the value that we're testing those incoming values against. And we're testing them in relation to whatever the operator is here. So right now, this is what we call the near equal operator. And that just simply means that if the values coming in are near 500, then say true. Well, you might ask, well, how near? Well, that's set in the parameters. So if we go here, click on the IfThenElse and look at the parameters over here, you can see that the near equal range I have set right now is 50. So that means that it will be true if it is 500 minus 50, that is 450, or 500 plus 50, that is 550. So anywhere in that range of 450 to 550 will come out to be true. And I can change this value, say, to 200. So anything within 200, either way of 500, will then be true. So now we can go up here, and as soon as we get above 300, which is 200 less than 500, then we're true, and the same on the other side. And this is a really helpful capability, this near equal, because often sensors are kind of inaccurate, and so you just want to define a range which would become true. And that's what we've got here. So this range we've set. Okay, so let's look at some of the other operators for conditions that test, again, the incoming value against this value here. So we can say anything is less than a certain amount. So here now, because these numbers, 85 right now, is less than 500, then we're true. We're doing the then part. And then as soon as I get to be more than 500, then we're false. And we can also use less than or equal to, which simply includes 500, whereas less than would only go to 499. And we've got greater than and greater than or equal to. We also have exactly equal to here, where if you need a situation where you're hitting that 500 perfectly, you can set that. Usually you'll never need that because sensors are not that accurate, but it's there in case you need it. Now, you can also change the number that you are comparing against. So if we set that to 800 now, it's going to be true as long as we're less than 800. And you can see as we go up here, now we go to 800, and now it becomes false. And the other way around, of course, works as well. So now we're true as long as we're greater than 800. Okay, let's look more closely at the then and the else cases. So right now we have it's false, and then it becomes true. And what we're doing is we're outputting the value specified here in the then for true, and here for the else. We can change those, of course. So here we can set that, say, to 400 instead of 500. And so then when it becomes true, you can see that the graphic now goes out to a pixel position of 400. And we can change the else condition also so that it outputs, say, 200 when we're false. And so now we're here at 200 pixel position. So that gives us a lot of control on the results of our if test. All right, let's look at one other feature, and this is called wait time. The IfThenElse widget in its parameters has these two parameters, wait time true and wait time false. And they allow us to wait a little while before a certain condition is said to be really true or false. So let's do the true one here. And I'm going to set that to 5 seconds for demonstration purposes. And what this does is we're saying it'll be true if it's greater than 500. Well, if I just temporarily go up there, nothing happens. We don't become true, but the true blinks up here. And the situation where we might use this is with a sensor. Say we've got a proximity sensor and someone walks up to it but is just at the right position only for a second. Well, we don't necessarily want, say, a video to be triggered if they're only there momentarily. We want to have them stand there for a second and then the video plays if they've been there for a second. So we don't get false triggers if someone just walks by, for example. So we've set it to 5 seconds. So now they have to stand there for 5 seconds. It blinks, and then after 5 seconds, it becomes fully true, and we do the then condition. We can do the same thing with the false condition. So I'll click on the IfThenElse widget. I'm going to reset true to 0, but then I'm going to set the false to 5,000. That is 5 seconds or 5,000 milliseconds. We'll test. And now we immediately become true as soon as we get above 800. But if we leave, the false blinks for 5 seconds, and so that allows us to hold. So if someone walks in, we can trigger something right away, say playing a sound when they walk by. And even though they've walked by and the sensor has gone back down, it still holds and continues to play the audio for a certain amount of time. So that's another common kind of situation where we want to trigger immediately and then hold even if the sensor value has gone down. Okay, so that's the first in a series of if-then-else tutorials. Thank you.